Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. I got a surprise for you. I have my good buddy and yours. You've missed him. I know you have. Michael Butler. Michael Butler. I haven't been drinking any good wine since you were on last.
It's been quite some time. I hope they're aging well.
They didn't last. I opened them right away. Whatever you told me to buy, I bought and I drank it.
That's right.
Yeah. Michael Butler, in case you're new to the show, or maybe you're just mad at me because it's been years since I've had him on. Michael Butler is our wine expert. Is that what I call you? I call you a wine expert. You know wine. You know good wine, and
I
you
drink a
always
lot of wine.
you drink a lot of wine. You taste it. Your food and beverage. So last time we talked to you, you had a different job. Now you're food and beverage manager at the resort at Eagle Point up in what town is that in, Butler?
It's actually in Eagle Point. It's a little suburb of Medford in Southern Oregon at the Cascade foothills. It's a very pretty little town.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website right now, resort at eaglepoint.com, and it's this great aerial shot of the golf course, which makes me want to drive up and see you, jump on a cart with you. Would we drink wine or would we drink beer?
We'd probably drink beer, Jeremiah. Let's be real.
I was gonna say the red wine might spill and slosh everywhere.
Exactly.
How good are you at golf now? You're a good golfer. You're an avid golfer.
Oh, it's sad. When I didn't work at a golf course, I was a better golfer because now I spend most of my time working instead of playing. I'm still in there. I'm a single digit handicapper, but it would always be nice to play more, work less.
I wonder what you'd call me. I'm the guy out there in the trees.
You're the ball hunter.
You call me the boogeyman. All right. So Michael also brings me and shoots me little stories that he finds funny and humorous out there. And I think I've convinced you to come back and do this more often, right? Because you find the really great stories in hospitality that just crack me up or make me kind of shake my head.
Some of the most unbelievable things in the world happen in restaurants.
We'll they do. So this one, do you want to set this up or do you want me to tell you what? Tell everybody what you sent me the other night.
Well,
it's a great story.
I found that, I'm kind of, being a director of restaurant, it's kind of, you're plugged into everything, right? So you see things come across your emails and people send you messages about what's going on. And so a little restaurant in Georgia actually decided that they were going to address the ages old problem of how you parent your kids in restaurants. And they decided that they were just going to start adding random amounts to people's bills based on how badly their parenting skills were when their kids were running around the restaurant, which to me, I laughed and I wanted to send them a check at the same time, because, after doing this for 20 years, I've dealt with it in and out on a weekly basis, if not daily, a lot of times. But they decided they didn't want to be, a place where kids run around. So it's on the menu. They'll tell you, we're going to charge you $50 if you can't control your kids. So it obviously quickly made national news and came across my desk. And that's when I sent it to you, because I just thought this was very funny and wonderful.
It's awesome. How many times because you and I worked together for a long time. And I mean, how many times have there been kids that are like climbing the booth and they're like throwing food all over, wiping their hands everywhere, screaming, running through the server's legs and almost causing accidents. And can you remember? Yeah. Do you remember a particular story like a kid that was just out of hand?
I remember this was when I was a waiter years and years ago. And there was a regular that used to come into this Enterprise Fish Company in Santa Monica. Every week he'd come in on Saturday night. I think he had his kid. He was never, with a wife or whatever. I think he was a single dad, and he'd bring in his daughter, and she would just do loops around the restaurant. And that place on a Saturday had 300 people in it, and 20 servers running around with big, heavy plates full of lobster. And it was dangerous. And that's the hard part for restaurants, is the liability factor. Your kid can get hurt there, And I remember this guy would sit right next to the food pass at a booth right there, and his kid would just run around. And I actually told him a couple times, she's going to get hurt. She's adorable, but she's going to get hurt if you don't keep her in the booth. And I was walking down some steps that were right there one time, and she came running, and I didn't see her. And I had a tray in front of me like this, so I couldn't see down, and she was 3 feet tall. And she slammed right into my leg and fell down backwards and started to cry and everything. And I looked up at her dad, who was right there, and I said, I told you so. And it was the most satisfying I told you so I've ever had. And every time you'd come in after that, she stayed in the booth, but she had to learn the hard way. So I think kids get to be kids at a lot of places, but sometimes some restaurants aren't that place. So that's the struggle.
There's a restaurant here in town, and I'm not going to name it, but it is full of kids, and it's a nice place, but for some reason they started catering to parents with kids after work with happy hour. And the kids outnumber the adults like 3-1.
Oh no.
But it's a nice restaurant. But then they've just done more and more, and now it's like, I wouldn't step in there if you paid me. I couldn't go have a drink because it's just like, it reminds me of the McDonald's, that bouncy house, and the slide and all that out front of McDonald's. It reminds me of that. It's the only thing it is missing is the balls that you jump into.
I wouldn't go there. If I want to go for happy hour after a long day of work or something, I want to be where it's nice and not necessarily quiet, but I don't want kids running around and yelling and screaming and stuff. Like I said, there's a time and a place for everything, and the McDonald's bouncy house is the time and the place. Not while I'm having my $18 martini trying to calm down after work for a long day.
Right. I mean, because that's like, it's supposed to be a happy hour, right, for parents and kids, but that is like the unhappiest hour for me.
Unhappy hour. It's really inexpensive because it's terrible.
Yeah. But you know what? If they put those balls that you can dive into, and maybe like, what I'm talking about, the whole balls. If they put those around the bar stools so that I could kind of dive into them, I might go back. If I could play in those balls, I would go back.
A couple Grey Gooses later, Jeremiah's in the pit.
Doing the swan. I'm doing the backstroke.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't get it. But can you imagine in those days if we would charge somebody $50? So if you charge somebody $50 for,
oh man,
lucky by the way that tray didn't come down and scald her, or we're always
yeah, exactly. From a serious standpoint, it's restaurants are dangerous. There's knives, there's glass, there's heavy plates. You drop a 6-pound plate on a kid's head, it's gonna hurt, if it doesn't do physical damage. But yeah, I just thought that was a crazy story, and I would not want to have to be a server that worked there and present a check to somebody and said, "There's an extra $50 on here because you're a bad parent."
we got to get the owner on and talk to them. His name is Tim Richter.
Oh, you found it? Okay.
Yeah, I found it. It's Toccoa Riverside Restaurant. It adds a $50 surcharge on the bills of families whose children don't behave while they're in the establishment. Okay, so then I just went to the Yelp page.
Yeah.
For Toccoa Riverside Restaurant, and Yelp says, this business recently received increased public attention, which often means people come to this page to post their views on the news. While we don't stand in the way or the other when it comes to this incident, we've temporarily disabled the posting of this content to this page as we work to investigate whether the content you see here reflects actual consumer experiences. So I think Yelp temporarily froze the page. They must have been just getting slammed.
Yeah, everybody's opinion. They've never been there, but they all have an opinion, right? Either way, it's going to be, I don't know if it would drive business or drive business away. Probably a little bit of both.
Well, I love it. I want to hear what your opinion is out there. Let us know. Jeremiah at thejeremiahshow.com. Shoot me an email or hit me up on any of the messaging services. I probably won't answer you, but go ahead and do it anyway. And Michael Butler, are you going to come back to the show. Can we get you back here to do this more often?
I would love to. It's starting to wind down. The golf season it's getting cold out. Actually, we had our first frost delay at the course yesterday. Getting ready to do an Italian wine dinner in 2 weeks, which is going to be a nice 6-course dinner paired with wines from different regions of Italy. But yeah, I'd love to come on and talk wine, see everything that's new. There's a lot of things that are happening on the West Coast in the wine world. Oregon, where I am, is actually producing wonderful Chardonnays now, which it didn't forever, just because it's warmer here than it used to be. There's a lot of great stuff going on in Southern Oregon, the Applegate and the Rogue Valley, where I am, as well as Willamette Valley. Napa and Sonoma are really struggling with the amount of wine that they have produced. France had to throw out millions and millions of gallons of wine because they just couldn't sell it. The market is shifting a lot. Younger people aren't drinking wine like they were. So wine marketers have become, kind of a niche market for selling things that people don't drink as much of. It's kind of like if you were a salesman for Bud Light right now. What can you come up with that's going to change people's minds? There's just so many choices right now, with all of the different, White Claw changed the alcohol industry. And it pushed away people drinking beer and wine into drinking hard seltzers. If you go down to the cold beer aisle in a restaurant now, or in a grocery store, half of it's dedicated to hard seltzers from 20 different brands. That never used to be the case. It used to just be all beer.
Do you think that's what the main reason that young people are not drinking as much wine or drinking it as they did traditionally?
I think that and the sense that everything, especially America in general, is a lot more casual, and wine kind of has kind of an upper class air to it. I think if you look at a lot of the advertisements that go on now, it's they're a lot more casual. They're not like, how sophisticated are you to drink this wine? They're like, this wine's for every day, just because they're trying to move product and get younger people not to think that wine is something that's hoity-toity, which it's not, though it can be, as opposed to, here's a hard seltzer that you can drink for breakfast.
Yeah.
Where wine isn't like that at all in most cases, unless there's orange juice in it and it's bubbly.
It's interesting. I'm just thinking, I'm making my own comparison here, but the e-cigarettes with all the different flavors,
Yep.
appealing to kids. It sounds a little bit like that, but for wine or beer. I mean, because I know every beer has flavored beer seltzers, and I don't know what they're putting in them. And same with the wine. You're right. The aisles are full of those of different varieties. I wonder if it's. I mean, that changed the cigarette business, right? They had to, but now this is changing the wine business. It's interesting. I'd like to explore that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's a whole different show itself.
Yeah. All right. Well, so let's tell everybody where you're at again, and should they come see you, Michael Butler, or you just
come in and check us out. We actually have a lot of great stay and play packages. We have beautiful chalets. We have probably the prettiest rooms that you can get in Southern Oregon. Pair those with a room. It's vastly inexpensive compared to Southern California, which is really nice. But it's a beautiful area, and there's a lot to do. There's a ton of wineries all around us. The Rogue Valley is gorgeous. There's the big Rogue River that runs through it, lakes everywhere, and mountains, hiking galore. The Shakespearean Festival, which runs year round, is in Ashland, which is 15 minutes away from us. But yeah, it's a great spot. The resort at Eagle Point.
The resort Eagle Point. Michael Butler. He is the food and beverage director, and he's a good friend. I count him as one of my best friends, and love to hear from you from time to time. But we're going to do that more often. I'm going to get him back here and bring us all these fun stories. So if you want to check it out, the story that you brought is to us here is that the Toccoa Riverside Restaurant adds a $50 surcharge on the bills of families whose children don't behave while at the establishment. And let me know what you think. I think this is, I don't know what I think. I think it's great. Can I say that? I think it's great. Without getting in too much trouble again. You can email me, but I'm not going to read it. So be nice. Michael, have a great day, man. It's good to see you.
All right. You too, man. Talk to you soon.
We'll be right back.
That's awesome. That's so funny.
That was a